I feel like such a good Asian housewife whenever I stand behind my ironing board. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Moi. If you're new here, I hope you're well and thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It truly means the world. Before I get started, I just want to say that I have been working on this video for the past week or so, and obviously with everything that is going on in the world right now in the wake of George Floyd's murder and the Black Lives Matter movement, I do not want to be taking away from their voices and their content. However, I do realise that I have a platform which I should be using to be spreading an anti-racist message. I am so privileged to be in a position where I can educate myself and I have the means to donate, and I've been signing petitions and sending emails, but this is not something that can change overnight. We need to be actively standing up against racism and racial injustice in our everyday lives, and for that we must be educated. So I'm going to be linking a bunch of resources down below of organisations you can support, petitions to sign, and resources that we should be absorbing. And yeah, this is not just an American problem. Racism exists worldwide and the UK and Ireland are definitely not exempt from it. I've also realised that my Instagram feed and my YouTube page are hugely undiverse, which is definitely a problem, and I'm gonna link a bunch of Black creators, YouTubers, Instagrammers who I've been loving recently, and I hope we can just continue to spread that message of love. And I really hope that each and every one of you is taking this time to educate yourself on what is happening and to have those uncomfortable conversations at home with your friends and family, because that is where change begins. I hope we can just continue to stand up against what is happening, and I'm just sending out my love. So today's video is going to be another thrift flip, and okay, it's basically another upcycling video because the charity shops are not open, hence we have no thrift to flip. But in the spirit of our Lord Saviour, Ashley from Best Dressed, we're calling it a thrift flip. The first piece which I have is this old silky midi skirt, and I haven't worn this in a while, but the colour and the fabric is just fantastic. I was initially just going to shorten it and then maybe do like a two-piece kind of moment with the leftover fabric, but then I had this great idea of turning it into a dress. Okay guys, so this is the midi skirt, and you know, she's so pretty, but I just think I'm too short for this kind of length of skirt and I haven't really worn it, but I love the colour. Anyway, my initial plan was to basically just cut it and create like a mini skirt, and then maybe use like the rest of the fabric to create like a two-piece. Seems very complicated. Anyway, I couldn't really think of what I wanted to do for the top, so new plan, which I'm really excited about, is basically if I shimmy this up and have it under my boobs, because it fits perfectly, that will kind of create like an empire waistband. I think that's what it is. Anyway, and then cut a panel from the bottom of the midi skirt and use it as like a gathered ruched bust thing, and then create straps somehow. I think that could be so cute, and it could be like one of the Princess Polly dresses. I don't know, I'm feeling it, I feel like this is gonna be good. I found some inspiration photos of Verge Girl and Princess Polly, and I did like a quick outline sketch of what I was going for. It is basically quite simple. By cutting up the bottom of the skirt, I had a panel which I could then reattach to the top and then use any leftover fabric, hopefully, for the straps. I measured how much I needed from the bottom, which was about 8 inches, and then started the gathering on the panel. Now, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I asked my mum how to do the gathering, and she said for this technique, you have to create 2 lines of loose stitches at the bottom, so you have to turn the machine to a wider stitch. It was like a 4 or 5. Honestly, no idea. You can investigate your said sewing machine. But then I did that and sewed 2 straight lines across the bottom. Okay, honestly, I think I'm getting quite okay at the sewing machine, which is fun. Anyway, I created my 2 lines. So in order to get the gathered effect, all you have to do is pull 1 thread from each of the lines. So there's like 2 threads per line, and you want to pull 1 from each of them. Does that make any sense? I'm so bad at explaining things, I'm sorry. But whenever you pull it, it gathers. Isn't that so exciting? Like, stop, look. Sewing is so fun. Look at me, I'm having the best time. Guys, go make your own clothes, it's so good. After I pulled all the fabric together, it actually looked so good already. However, the top of my skirt had this kind of like thick twisty loop bit, which was really cute, but it was going to be really hard to like attach the new top onto it, so I basically decided to unpick it all. I literally spent hours doing this. I think I spent the whole afternoon unpicking it with intermittent dance breaks, but once it was all off, I then had to re-sew on a plain band because I had ripped the previous one off. Basically, this would be so much easier if you just had like a plain skirt, but you know, I was just working with what I got. I cut out and pinned down a piece of fabric that was just a bit bigger than what I needed for the band so that I could have a hem to sew on the gathered bit, and sewed her on. Guys, I don't want to brag, but how seamless is that? Oh my gosh. I'm actually kind of good at this. I just can't believe I did that. That is basically almost perfect. I mean, not gonna lie, the other side, not so much. I didn't quite line up everything. But you know, happy mistakes, or whatever Bob Ross says. I then sewed on the gathered panel, trying to make sure that the gathering was kind of like evenly distributed throughout, which was really tedious, but it turned out really good in the end. You just kind of had to make sure that you were like pushing the right amount of gathers through the sewing machine at a time. Honestly, I'm not making any sense at this point, I'm so sorry. I finished sewing the front and the back of the gathering on, and I'm not gonna lie, I think it looks really good. What we have to do now is create gathering at the top, and I have some leftover elastics, so I'm going to basically create like a channel like we did in the last video and feed the elastic through, and hopefully that will give the ruching at the top. And yeah, and then we can make straps from the leftover fabric. So I made sure to measure how thick I wanted the panel to be, and then hemmed it with enough space in between to feed the elastic through. This is kind of like the last video, so for this I attached the elastic to a safety pin, tried to like shimmy her through, and once she was like the whole way through, I secured it down in place. I mean, I could technically leave it like this, but I think straps would look really cute, so I'm gonna try and make some straps, and then I just have to hem the bottom. And we are basically done. How cute is she? Oh my gosh. I feel like this is a great birthday dress. Maybe I should wear this for my birthday. My quarantine birthday, literally sitting in my house. But I'll look cute, so. Lastly, for the straps, this is going to be so hard to explain, but my mum showed me how to do this. Basically, after cutting a length for the strap, you sew it together kind of back to front and then close it off on one side, and then you can like push an old brush or pencil into the closed side in order for it to like turn the right way round. Okay, I'm sorry if that doesn't make any sense, and I also apologize for the rather sexual gestures, but it creates this like seamless tubular strap, which is kind of fun. And then I sewed them on and hemmed the bottom, and we were all done. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. I am being such a smug bitch in this because I was so happy with how this turned out. It basically matches the initial vision I had in my head, and I think it's so great. I actually tucked the band under my boobs to let the gathered bit look a bit more seamless, and you know, it also made it nice and short because we love some leg exposure. Anyway, you'll be seeing this on my Instagram because she is so cute and summery, and I can't wait to wear it out once we're allowed outside, which is gonna be so fun. But let me know what you guys think down below, and hopefully you can also recreate something similar. Okay guys, don't call me out for this one, but we're kind of starting from scratch. My mum has a bunch of old fabrics and I've been kind of rifling through them, and I found this one. And to be fair, she does claim that this was found in a charity shop, so technically we're still on brand with the whole upcycling thing. But whenever I saw this, I knew I wanted to create something out of it. It is this gorgeous like retro pastel rainbow print. Very My Little Pony, kind of psychedelic, but I'm really into it. You could definitely try cutting up an old bed sheet or an oversized men's shirt or something to get the required fabric length. My inspiration for this top was this amazing with jean halter neck, which I've been seeing a bunch on Instagram. It is basically like super 70s, kind of got like a plunging neckline, wrap around. So cute, so gorgeous. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be paying $160 for it, and With Jean will not sponsor me. But I decided to make my own because I feel like the design is essentially quite simple, and even though I am an amateur at sewing, I think we can do it. Once again, I began by drawing out my artistic vision. This was wholly inspired by the With Jean top, so of course I do not take any credit for the design, but I simplified down the pattern to basically one long rectangle and two isosceles triangles. I began by cutting the shapes out of the fabric, and I wasn't really too strict on the measurements. The triangles were about 18 inches tall and 9 inches wide, I think, and the rectangle was about 40 by 14. Obviously it depends on the size of your body, but this is kind of what worked for me. me, and I wanted the rectangle to be wider so I could eventually double layer it. I promise it will become clear. Actually, you know what? I do not promise it will become clear because I'm so bad at explaining things. Anyway, I hemmed the sides of the triangles first by ironing them down and then sewing it into place, and repeated that for each of the long sides. I actually feel like I've come a long way since the first video, guys. Like, I was actually vaguely good at sewing things in straight lines here. You know, progress. Okay guys, I f***ed up. Sewing is not as easy as it looks. Basically, I filmed this whole segment where I showed you how to like ruche the bottom bit of your triangle, and I showed my mum and she was like, Moya, no, that's not gonna work. Basically, because I'm using cotton material, it's quite stiff, so it didn't flow nicely whenever I did the gathering. It kind of meant that it was like super puffy and there'd be lots of like space going on, and we want it to like sit nicely on the chest, otherwise you're gonna get a lot of nip slips. And you know, I'm all about free the nipple, but we are making a top, and a top usually is to cover. So what my mum showed me was how to do this kind of pleating bit moment at the bottom. That's just gonna give it more structure and yeah, still get that like gathered look, but make sure it sits nicely. We are going to replicate this on the other triangle, and I'll show you how to do it. Obviously, measurements and stuff, it really depends on your body. Like, I have small boobs, so this like nicely covers mine. You'll probably have to play around with it if you are endeavoring to try on this failed DIY tutorial. But okay, negativity aside, let's learn something new. So I ironed down the pleats that my mum had made in the other triangle and took out the pins so I could match them symmetrically to the other side. I made sure to pin down the triangles so it wouldn't like slip around, and got about like pinching the fabric into pleats. I realised that I'm just not filming a tutorial at this point because I'm so bad at explaining things that I've literally just learned, but you kind of just like pinch it and then flatten it down and pin it. As you can see, my mum came and took over because I was making a dog's dinner out of it, but once I finished, I ironed down the pleats to make sure that they were secure and loosely sewed them to keep them from slipping whenever I got to the sewing machine. I measured out the rectangle and made sure to pin down the triangles where I wanted them to sit in the middle, and I kind of left a gap between them because, you know, less is more, but you can have them sit however you want. I then sewed them together with like the two front sides of the fabric facing each other, so whenever we flipped it over at the end, the stitches wouldn't be visible. I folded the rest of the rectangle over to kind of sandwich everything in and pinned it down and sewed it together. Now you're probably wondering like, what are you doing? Because I too made that face when my mum tried to explain it to me. But basically it makes it super seamless so that all the excess fabric is like caught in between the two layers, and then whenever you turn it inside out, it's like nicely double layered and there's like no stitching showing. Just trust me on this one, it works. Okay, we're back and we're doing the fun bit, the fun reveal. So this is all like sandwiched up, and I sewed one side closed to make the hem nice, but the other one is left open because we have to like pull it inside out. I don't know how to say that. Basically, we're pulling it inside out. We're pulling it inside out. This is oddly satisfying. Ooh. Also doubles up as a puppet. Ta-da! Isn't she cute? Oh my god, I'm so excited. Now I'm going to ask my mum how to sew this properly, and then all we have to do is attach the straps and we've got ourselves a new top. So I folded in the sides of the open end, which took me way too long to figure out how to do it, and then I ironed it down and sewed it together. I also unpicked the loose stitching which we had done earlier because everything was now secure, and sewed in some straps. I had these like little pieces of string from an old shirt which were the perfect length, but you could easily cut out like little skinny rectangles from the fabric and hem them to make straps. Guys, I'm not saying I did well, but is she not so cute? Oh my gosh, I'm actually obsessed. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I think the craftsmanship on this top is actually really good, especially for like an amateur sewer. I don't know, I think because we did that like double layered effect, it means that all the stitching isn't showing and everything just looks like so much more seamless and professional. But yeah, I am so happy with how this turned out. I think it is such a cute summer top, you know, it's gonna be perfect for all those festivals which are just not happening and all those parties which I'm definitely not invited to, and even if I was, I'd have to like socially distance and you know, that's not fun. But you know, at least it'll be like on my Instagram feed, I guess. So guys, that was my 2 thrift flip items. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had so much fun making them and I think they turned out really cute. Definitely Instagram worthy. Speaking of which, you can go follow me on Instagram. I'll leave it down below. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It honestly means the world. And thank you so much for all the love recently. I think we're about to hit 50k, which is just mind-blowing. But once again, if you're out protesting, I hope you're staying safe, sending my love out to you. If you cannot protest, I hope you are educating yourself and having those conversations at home. And yeah, just hope you're all safe, connected, informed, and I'll talk to you guys soon.